Hey, welcome and happy Thursday, everybody. It's your coach here, Coach's Call on Tap. This is our weekly Chalk Talk. This will be actually Chalk Talk number 4 if you ever want to come back and listen to our bullshit. This will be our Coach's Call Chalk Talk number 4. I'm here with Coach Jennings in San Antonio, Russell here in Texas, Donnie Nolan in Tennessee, our unpacker, producer, executive producer, whatever you want to call him, millennial vampire. Tristan is not with us today. He's a little busy, but he'll be back next week. Anyway, thank you for joining. Remember, go ahead and hit that the like button, subscribe to us, tell everybody about us. We're trying to grow this community. Also, you can go join us on our Discord where we do all of our betting. Tonight, we're just going to uncover some things, talk about some things that have been going on that are interesting to us. Hopefully, they're interesting to you. And again, this is just our points of view. And so we're going to start off with probably one of the most one thing that's going on around here right now is that's really interesting to us is college, because we're fixing to hit the playoffs, and with the transfer portal, everybody's pissed off, number one, because of the playoffs, correct? Like Florida State should have been there. Well, really, Georgia should have been there. How is Texas in there? What happened to the loss against OU? There's just a lot of people pissed off that this isn't the top 4, the top best teams. Most of us think it is. The conferences, what is it? USC is leaving, Oregon's leaving, and then what's happening with all the rivalries that's going on? They don't get to play the rivalries anymore, and and then what's the use of playing in the ACC if you're going to go undefeated and not get into the playoffs? Well, there's a lot of theories going on, and but the most interesting thing that came out was Chip Kelly. And I'm not a fan of him, but he made the most sense out of everybody. And we're just going to take a listen to this, and then we'll take off from this.
And I think we need to have a conference commissioner. I think football should be separate from the other sports. Just the fact that our school is leaving to go to the Big Ten in football, our softball team should be playing Arizona in softball. Our basketball team should be playing Arizona in basketball. But because football left, and they're saying, well, how do you do that? Well, Notre Dame's independent in football, and they're in a conference and everything else. I think we should all be independent in football. And you can have a 64-team conference that's in the Power 5, and you can have a 64-team conference in the Group of 5, and we separate it, and we play each other. Yeah. You can have the West Coast teams, and then every year we play 7 games against the West Coast teams, and then we play the East. So we play Syracuse, Boston College, Pitt, West Virginia.
Hell yeah.
Then the next year you play against the South while you still play your 7 teams. You can play a 7-game schedule. You can play 4 against another division opponent, and you can always play against one Mountain West team every year, so that we can still keep those rivalries going. Not that I've really thought about this. Not that I've a lot of spent of time on this. But I think if you went together collectively as a group and said there's 132 teams and we all share the same TV contract, so that the Mountain West doesn't have one and the Sun Belt doesn't have another and SEC has one and they have another, that we all go together, that's a lot of games, and there's a lot of people in the TV world that would go through it. I think they're all.
And he goes on to talk about, then you have your playoff, at the end. But you need one commissioner. You need one guy to take the freaking reins and move with it. And that's not happening because, of money, and there's a lot of stuff going on, but it does take away. I'm going to miss those rivalries. There are rivalries, and I don't mean to sound ugly or anything or against anything, but dude, football is football, and the other sports are just that, other sports. If you don't have football at your university, you're losing money.
No question.
That's just that's the fact. Your baseball team's going to lose you money every year. I don't give a shit if it's Texas or A&M. They're going to lose you money. Basketball is going to lose. If you don't have a football team, it's not going to happen. So, guys, your thoughts. I mean, I don't know if that's the answer. I don't have an answer. I haven't thought long and hard about it. But West Coast teams moving to East Coast conferences and East Coast teams moving to West Coast conferences, I don't think is the deal. What do you guys think? Anybody?
Here's the thing that I think we're going to end up with super conferences. You're going to end up with 24-team super conference, or maybe they go to a 64 team, like Chip Kelly said, 64 teams in a conference, and you split it up into four areas. And, you have 4 divisions and you go from there. But the SEC is going to have what, 14 teams next year?
Yep.
The first 14 team conference we've got, and the Pac's going to what, 4?
Yeah.
So it's gone.
Yep.
I mean, so you're going to end up with a big 14, a Sky 14 or a West
whatever
14.
whatever it's called. But I mean,
Yeah.
you're still going to have you're going to have this. You're still going to have the same fucking problem. I've got the best 14 teams in the SEC.
No, I mean, at some point, I think we've got to go to take football aside, like he said, pull it aside, make super conferences and then secondary conferences and play for different titles. Like you guys are in Texas. How you do it in Texas? You do it based on the size of the school, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yep.
You base it on the strength of the school. So you take the
And
SEC
that's a whole other fight, because now you're talking about big money teams like Texas and A&M, and we would have never seen TCU in the national championship because they're half our size.
Yeah, but they
You know
got
what I mean?
raffle stomp.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I get it, but let TCU play for the instead of playing for the world heavyweight champion, they're playing for the U.S. champion or the
in
welterweight.
In high school football, we have big schools, small schools. So, what do you think, Russell? Oh shit!
Oh, he's having mic trouble.
Well,
but I mean,
I had to mute him because he had a lot of. There you go.
Background.
Background noise.
I think Chip Kelly's spot on. I mean, the basketball, there's football in college, and then there's every other sport. And second closest thing is obviously basketball. But I don't like what's going on right now across the country with all these conferences. But just collapsing one year, and the next year it's something else, and you're killing all these traditional rivalries. It's bad for the sport. And I do agree with what Donnie was saying, that TCU should have never been in the national championship game last year. Let's be honest. Should have never been there. Wasn't one of the top 4 teams. But if you're doing what Chip Kelly said, that would have never happened. TCU would have never been there.
Well, it's not going to happen next year. We know that. Next year, the best team's going to win it. I mean, you got 12 to pick from, right? I mean, shit.
Yeah. And I think 12 might be the right number, maybe 16, but really, I don't think you'll ever see anybody outside of the top 12 win a national championship in college.
This isn't basketball. We don't have the same parity. Coach, what do you think?
No, I'm with you guys. I just think that it's become, I mean, right now you're looking at things going, okay, yeah, there's 12 teams next year, but how many of those teams are going to be from the SEC and the Big Ten? Because those are the 2 conferences with the strongest, you know what I mean, teams in it. Now, I'm sure there'll be some Big 12 representatives and maybe some from, this, that, the other, right? But if, I don't know, like if I'm looking at it from the Big 12 perspective right now, I'm going, okay, yeah, we added these teams, Utah and so forth. And
Utah, Houston, UCF. I mean,
UCF, which was a waste of time.
I mean, just a waste of time, dude. You're another ACC. You go undefeated in that fucking conference. Why? No, if you're gonna, especially if you put 14 teams, the SEC added quality fucking meat. I mean, let's be honest with that.
No,
the SEC added the quality meat. Big 12 added Houston, UCF, BYU,
Colorado.
I mean,
Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado, big freaking deal, dude. I mean,
my point is this: like, so the SEC feels left out, right? And you and I were talking about this before the podcast, but the Clemsons of the world, the Florida States of the world, probably North Carolinas of the world, Louisville, all those guys feel like, you know what, it ain't good enough just to win the fucking conference championship anymore. We got to go undefeated. And even if we do that, we saw what happened to Florida State, right?
Yeah.
We better be healthy, right? Or we're not going to get, but those 12 teams next year, there's still going to be somebody bitching and moaning that's 13 or 14 that thinks they should be number 12 or 11, right? Yeah. So we're still going to have controversy.
And I'm fine with that, Coach. So, if you want to bitch as at number 13 or 14, bitch all you want, because we know at least the top 6 are legit, right?
I'm with you.
What if,
Yeah.
But
what
my
if we
point is
took
this,
it?
though. Let me finish.
Go
So my
ahead.
point is this: the Big 12, if they don't get their shit together and start grabbing teams like Florida State, North Carolina, Clemson, Notre Dame, Louisville, they're going to end up just like fucking
Yep.
the ACC. And what was it, Coach, earlier? Florida State's trying to leave already?
Yeah, and then Clemson's right behind them. Yeah, it's the same
There you
thing.
go.
What if you took it like English soccer has it? And I don't know if you know how this works.
No,
you
I do
have
not.
Like
Not
so you
even
have like
close.
the top tier teams.
Yeah.
They play for the heavyweight championship. And they take the bottom one or two teams every year gets bumped down to middleweight. And the middleweight top two teams get bumped up to heavyweight. Then you have a middleweight championship, you have a heavyweight championship, and it goes down, welterweight, featherweight, whatever. Now I'm putting boxing weights on it, but they have English championship, English League One, English League Two, et cetera, et cetera. But you still have championships. You're still playing for something. But that way you could keep your rivalries as well.
Yeah, that
there's
sounds.
No champion. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, but that sounds good. But dude, if it took them this long just to get a fucking 12-man playoff thing going, when we've been doing it in Texas for 112, 13 years, I mean, can you imagine the shit? It's just. But I mean,
right?
I agree. I really hate that they've got to go. But you can't help it. I mean,
but I feel like we kind of already do that, right? We have an FCS champion, we have a Division II champion, right? But I'm with Donnie to some degree because there are mid-major teams that I always talk about all the time. You hear me say that word mid-major.
Yeah.
There's the UNLVs, the UTSAs of the world, those kind of people, right? That I don't think can compete with the SEC and some of the Big 12 teams and so forth, right? So I think there still needs to be another division. I'm kind of with it there. We can take those teams and put them in this mid-major level, right? And then take the big teams and say, all right. So I think we're missing a link there. We're missing
we're missing a big link because we talk SEC. You know what? Missouri is not. They had a great year this year, but they're a small school. Vanderbilt, just because they're in the SEC, no way, dude. No. I mean, so that's the other problem. Holy cow, I'm getting attacked. That's the other problem is how do you measure that?
Right. It can't be on attendance because of the private schools. Baylor doesn't have a big one.
No, because you do have some solid fucking teams out there that can really compete, but don't have, I mean, look at Kansas State in the Big 12. Baylor, if you can get your coach back, y'all would be back too over there. Russell, and you know that because Baylor can do it. Texas Tech has had their years, but let's just take K-State. K-State, for some reason, year in and year out,
right away.
They're always, and so how do you gauge that? How do you put K-State in that? It's a big fucking mess.
No,
man.
you just make it based on wins and losses and how they perform. I mean, if you're, it's just performance based. I mean, it shouldn't be this complicated. It really shouldn't. You're kowtowing to television contracts.
But Donnie, then we're going to go back to the same argument. We're in the SEC. We're a tougher conference. It's harder for us to win 10 games over here than it is to win 10 games in the Pac-12 and the Big 10 or in the ACC where you win 13, don't get anywhere. We're getting in the same fight if we go wins and losses. No. I know what you're saying.
But I'm saying you divide it up into 64 teams. And, you have the heavyweight 64, the middleweight 64, and I'm just giving these fighting terms, but you just League 1, League 2, League 3, League 4, down to whatever leagues you want. And then at the end of the year, you tweak, hey, you finished in the top 4 of your division. You get to move up a division. You finish in the bottom 4. You move down a division. Because
we can argue this all day long. Hopefully something will change, but we all agree that we all agree that something needs to get fixed and it needs to get changed because, I mean, just going off of that, now we're talking about the NIL. I mean, well, something needs to get fixed because first of all, Florida State's fixing to bail. They've already got their lawyers ready to go. They're knocking on the door. They're fixing to give millions of dollars to the ACC to get out. Where they're going to go, I don't know. But if they
And
do
that's what
that,
I'm saying.
if
Big
they do
12,
that,
they're
Clemson's
smart.
next. Yeah, they need to go to the Big 12. I mean,
And then Clemson will be next.
I mean,
if the Big
or
12 is smart, if not, they're
yeah.
going to end up like the Pac-12.
Yeah,
They
because
ain't
if
gonna
they don't go to the Big 12, I think there's only going to be two conferences left: the Big 10 and the SEC.
No question. No question.
They got to pick up Florida State. They got to pick up Clemson and stuff like that. Something needs to be done. But the NIL money, dude. I've heard. Well, me and John were talking about this before.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know that these kids have agents now in high school?
Real agents.
Real agents in high. I didn't know this. Y'all might have known this. I didn't know this. They've got freaking agents right now that are going to these schools at the last minute going, hey, or these schools are going to these agents going, all right, you want $750,000, you got it. And they sign that letter of intent. And then the next day when the sun comes up, oh man, we got this guy, but we don't have the money yet. We'll get it. It's kind of like what Deion Sanders did at Colorado. Yeah, you pay me $36 million, but just give me $200,000 right now. We'll bring in the money, But they've got freaking agents now. And these kids don't even know what the fuck they're signing. Now, this is the shit that's just got, we got to get a hold of it. Go ahead, Donnie.
Here's the crazy thing about NIL. And I mean, I was one to think that it was going to be so over the top with football that, it was just going to be swarmed by football. But it's now getting based on your social media accounts. So Bronny James is the number one guy right now until this year's signing comes out. Bronny James is the number one. Shedeur Sanders number two. Anybody want to guess who number three is?
Libby Dunn.
That's it. A girl
Yeah, me too.
Gymnastics player.
Oh yeah.
That
and her OnlyFans.
She has like 10 million followers.
Yeah, you got to pay $10 a month.
Yeah, but still, she's worth. She's got
video.
She's got 3.3 in her NIL deal. We don't even know about her OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Her NIL deal is 3.3.
Dude, who was
That's
it?
crazy.
Ark Manning. Get this stat.
He's 4.
Ark Manning Texas paid him $2.5 million this year. He made more money this year than Brock Purdy made. And Purdy might win a Super Bowl.
He might win the MVP.
And then fucking Ark Manning threw 10 balls this year and made $2.5 million. And then he might fucking leave Texas and go to LSU. Get you some of that crap.
I hope he does.
Oh, I hope he does. I hope he turns this shit upside down. I hope he does. I hope he turns it upside down. I hope people realize what a shit show they've created. That's it. The Live Tour in golf. I thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I am so happy it happened. I am so glad it happened because now it just shows you how much money those freaking dudes in the PGA heads were pocketing. They were making more money than the freaking players were. And so now they understand, and the players are understanding. They're like, screw you, dude. I play less and make more. That's what these kids are doing now, man. That's what these kids are doing now. I mean, I can't blame them. If it was my daughter, if it was back in the day with my daughter, I'd probably be doing the same thing. Like, but I just can't believe.
You heard what Jeremiah Smith did at Ohio State, right? Or so when they had National Signing Day just the other day, right? So
yep.
The top wide receiver recruit, 5-star recruit, from I don't know who rates that, ESPN or so forth, right? Was pretty much playing games with Ohio State. So Ohio State had been recruiting him. He had been committed for a year. Brian Hartline, who's the wide receiver coach, who's put a lot of guys in the NFL. That was his whole the kid's reasoning for going to Ohio State, right? I want to play in the NFL. Hartline puts guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, he had his agent, right? Like a direct quote is, let's see where it says, yeah. So Smith's NIL rep, which means agent,
yep.
was making sure that Ohio State's collective had promised Smith during the recruiting process would also be in writing. It had to be in writing. And so this kid, like, literally didn't sign his national letter of intent and send it in until 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern Standard Time, and and was flirting with Miami the entire time. Right? He had something in writing from Miami, didn't have it in writing from Ohio State. The agent's waving that shit in Ohio State's face and saying, "Look, you either do it or we're gonna go take our talents to Florida."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the kid was on board with that. Obviously wanted to go to Ohio State. It ended up working out. But like I know you guys, Coach Z has, but in college recruiting, like it's a big deal. Like when they send that paperwork in, it's a big deal. And they used to fax it back in my fucking day, right? But my deal is this: like, it comes in at 8 o'clock in the fucking morning, 9 o'clock at worst. It does not come in at 10 in the night. Okay, so that those coaches had to be fucking stressed out.
Oh yeah.
That day, and dealing with that agent and so forth. And so that kind of stuff, I'm sure there's worse horror stories than we can read about, right, on the news.
Yeah.
But it's just out of control with these agents, these kids, and they're being coached up to say the right thing. Oh, I'm going there for the coach. But you ain't going there for the coach.
No,
You're going there for everybody.
Hey, Donnie, Russell, I know Russell, I know you played ball.
Yeah.
I'm at either one of you guys. Hey, were y'all ever recruited in any sport to go to the college level? Did y'all ever go to the recruiting process?
Oh yeah.
What was that like for you? Like,
it was, for me, it was basically just, I got letters from from different colleges all the way up to Oklahoma, which was the high point. And it was, hey, we heard you're interested, send us some tapes. And I mean, at that point in time, you literally I had to take a VHS tape and mail it to them.
God, good old days.
And then I would get a phone call. I got, they'd set up, they'd call the house, they'd leave a voicemail on the little playback machine. God, I'm old as hell. But, then it was talked about, and there was some workout stuff. But at no point ever did I hear anything about money. There was talk of scholarships and walk-ons. Hey, if you want to walk on and you make the team, we'll put a scholarship package together for you. But, it was basically just, hey, we want you to, I was young too. I graduated at 17. I was barely 17 when I graduated. So they were like, we want you to walk on and work out with the team, and we'll probably redshirt you because we know you're going to grow and blah 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 blah. So I took a scholarship where I could get it.
What about you, Russ? What was the process with you? Like,
it's pretty similar to Donnie, except for I got several letters. I got to go on a couple of visits, but not, like you said, nothing about money. I got in some trouble my senior year. That shit stopped real quick. Ended up having to go to JUCO. Yeah,
come on, Ross, not you.
My bad. I was just gonna say that,
shithead.
My bad. I ended up in the car business. I got no, but I ended up playing a little ball down at Blinn for a little while and got in trouble again. So
yeah. Well,
I've grown up a little.
The thing was, and I am older than John, and John did more of this than I did. I did some of it at the start of my career, but it's at least when I started, and I think John, when you coached also, with Coach Leach and everybody, you got a couple of weeks off every year. I mean, you were still kind of working, but you got some time off. We were talking about now, dude, it hurts you to play for a national championship as far as recruiting goes. Because these coaches right now, take Alabama right now. Saban said this today in the McAfee show. He goes, dude, we get up in the morning and the first thing we do is transfer portal kids and freshmen that we're recruiting. And then, we're getting ready for practice, workouts and everything. And so we're working on getting to the national champion, to winning this game for 12 hours. And then the next 12 hours, we're sitting here because kids are signing their contracts. There's the NIL, and all this. And so that's the other 12 hours of your fucking day. That's no fun to me. Like, okay, I'm trying to win a national championship here, but if I don't work these other 12 hours and try to get these kids wherever we need them, and I'm sure, Saban has a large staff and they've got it down pat to where they do it, but it's still a 23-hour day. It's got to be a 23-hour day or you're going to lose. You're going to lose out. I mean, John, you were there. We talked about it before. Talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on that too.
Yeah, I mean, you used to definitely get, there was one signing day in February, like what we're calling the second signing day now, right? So you had that, and then you go straight to spring ball usually, and then after spring ball, right, there'd be a time the coach, head coach would allot. Coach Leach always liked taking the staff on the retreat for a week, and then
it was also a dead period where you can't contact kids.
Yeah, you're getting it's in the process of getting your camps ready. So when you hit June 1st, right, you're off and running with the camps. Yeah. And you're able to evaluate talent live and in person. So you have that off. You usually got a couple of days off for Christmas Eve, Christmas, so forth. Thanksgiving, you got a couple of days off, so forth. But you had those days, right? You don't have those days anymore. They don't exist. And even when I was at Tech, Baylor, so forth, if we were in a bowl game, right, your Christmas might be in Orlando, or when we're at Holiday Bowl, it might be in San Diego, right? So you might have Christmas, you might not with your family. It was a weird deal. But long story short, if you did make it, right, or your game fell before that or after that or whatever, you had those times. You don't have that anymore. Like, I got guys in it that tell me right now that they want out of college football and they want to go, they want to be in the NFL, right? Which is not easy to do unless you played in the NFL, but they would rather take CFL jobs. They would rather take USFL. They would rather take other jobs because it's just become such a grind. And like Coach was saying, these 4 teams that are in the national championship or in the hunt for the national championship, I don't know when they sleep. Because their phones are going off 24/7. And even when they do get done, those 12 hours prepping, like Coach was saying, you might get 2 to 3, 4 hours of sleep, maybe, but then you got all these fucking recruits to call. The only thing I saw that was somewhat of a solution when Dave Aranda, who's a good friend of mine, the head coach of Baylor, was at LSU as a defensive coordinator, and they were making that run. Burrow was there, so forth. There was 3 assistants, full-time assistants, like that coach positions, running backs, corners, and something else, maybe tight ends. Those 3 guys were the recruiting dudes. So they had a recruiting crew, right? Yeah. Just you have all these other analysts and so forth. They had the recruiting analyst. And then those 3 guys, like, no matter what the fuck was going on, whether it was practice, whether it was they were in meetings, they were talking about how they were going to attack so-and-so, right? For the playoffs, it didn't matter. It trumped everything, right? So I just saw how Orgeron did it. And that's the way he did it. But I couldn't imagine like living a life like that, man. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. 365 days a year, baby. Go ahead, Russ.
Oh, I was just gonna say cocaine.
Yeah. 400 days a year. Yeah.
The amount of drugs that are consumed by head coaches.
Hey guys, we thought we were kind of been throwing this around the last couple of days, but I kind of want to talk about this because I know where it's going to end up, and I wish Tristan was here, but he's not. Mark Wahlberg had one of the best quotes that I've read in a long time. He said, "Tiger Woods is the only sports star who's worth every penny he makes." Let that sink in. Tiger Woods is the only sports star who's worth every penny he makes. I sat here and thought about it before I opened my mouth to my buddy that I work next to. And I thought for about 30 minutes, and I couldn't come up with another dude right now in professional sports. In all of professional sports, I couldn't come up with one dude that's worth the money that he's making? Donnie?
I can come up with a couple.
Okay.
The first one, and hey, I got to give it to Tiger Woods. He definitely does draw the crowd, does everything.
Well, okay.
I don't think
Let me preface
I don't
this,
think there's
Donnie.
anybody else in golf that is close, even though they get paid more than Tiger. They're not.
But
worth it.
Tiger changed the game.
Yep.
Not only did he change the game, they redid golf courses because of what he did.
Oh yeah,
They made courses longer. They
Yeah.
allowed more patrons because he brought in more people than ever.
Yep.
He changed everything. So when I'm saying, when I read this, he's the only sports star who's worth every penny he makes, I'm talking about all of that. I'm talking about you. It encompasses all this, and it's not about the amount one sports star to another. It's the amount that they tag on that sports star. Okay, go ahead.
I agree. In basketball, I think based on the salary that Steph Curry is that guy, because he has changed the game. He's brought more people into the game that previously didn't have the athletic ability to jump out of the gym or do whatever. He's brought in a new phase of the game, and he doesn't make LeBron money. He doesn't make Kyrie money, Kevin Durant money. He's okay with not doing that.
4 years, 4 years, $215,353,664.
But compare that to Durant, compare it to Harden, compare it to
$53,800,000 a year.
How many people does he bring to the game that just want to see? How
did he change the game? First of all, let's go back to your first thing. How did? And I'm not arguing, Donnie. I just want facts here. How did he change the game?
He lengthened the court. They talked about moving the 3-point line and giving it a 4-point line just because of him. He extended the court. How many times before Steph Curry did you see people want to shoot from the logo?
Right.
He shoots from the logo with quickness.
Yeah.
He changed the game on that end. Now, let's say what else he does. He brings people to the game before the game. Why? Because people want to come see him warm up. His warm-up routine is so insane that he's bringing people to the game early. Guess what they're doing? They're getting to the game early. They're buying food. They're buying hot dogs. They're buying beer. Now they're probably buying another beer and Stone Cold and another beer. Another beer.
How many games does he play a year?
82.
He plays
82.
He didn't play 82
plus playoffs.
I think last year he played in 67 or 68.
All right, let's just say 80.
Time off for rest.
Let's do this. Let's just say 80. Okay, let's just go on the high end.
Okay,
80 games a year. He's worth almost $54 million for 80 games.
Let's give him $800,000 a game.
Is he worth that? Because you're only giving Tiger $1 million a tournament.
All right, now let me ask you this: if he's not,
am I right? No, I mean I'm just saying the greatest golfer of all time. We're giving him $1 million for 4 days. We're giving this kid almost $1 million for one game. He's that good. I'm just asking you, is he that good?
I know. Let me ask you this: if he's not on the Golden State Warriors, what is their attendance like?
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. I'm just asking you, is he worth $1 million a game?
I think he is. I think that he is worth it. I think Novak Djokovic in tennis is worth it. I think that outside of those, I don't see baseball having a guy. I don't see.
I agree with you on Djokovic. Here's my bias. Those individual sports, you could really see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Russell, do you think anybody? You tell me.
So, well, I think that I think you could take pretty much every team sport out of it when you're talking about the actual dollars and cents. Yes, Tiger Woods, John Jones, Conor McGregor, Novak Djokovic. These guys that they create pay-per-view buys. They create when Tiger's playing on TV, the TV ratings, the dollars that are generated, you're talking about being worth money. And to flip it around, let's look at somebody like Patrick Mahomes, right? Best quarterback in the NFL. We can all agree. Best quarterback, right? What did he do? He signs this giant contract, the highest paid quarterback in the league. A lot of these quarterbacks that get these after their rookie deal, they get these big giant contracts. What happens to the team? That's happening to the Chiefs. It's happening to the Chiefs right now.
Right now.
The product on the field goes down because they can't afford to pay people around them. So you're paying this guy all this money, and yeah, he's great. He's awesome. But now he's running for his life. The team's not winning anymore. That's not worth the money. That's not worth the money.
Yep.
You're costing your team. And the reason Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time isn't just because of the 7 Super Bowl rings. It's because he was smart enough to go, I got endorsement deals. I can do this. I can do that. Pay me less, put a team around me. So these guys that get these giant contracts, especially with a salary cap, it's detrimental to the organization. It's detrimental to the money. And so when we're having this conversation, it's individual team sports are the only people, in my opinion, that are worth every penny. Tiger Woods is worth the money. John Jones, Ronda Rousey in her prime. When you're generating all this dollars because you're the focal point, you can't say that in a team sport. Steph Curry's great, but the people are still going to watch the Warriors long after Steph Curry. They may not make as much money, but they ain't worth $1 million a game, in my opinion.
What do you think, Coach?
I'm mixed on this. It's a complete shit show. But I agree with Donnie, and that guy has changed the game, and the fact that they're going to actually change, even thinking about changing the perimeter of the fucking court as far as 3-point plan, like to me, that's worth something because you've really changed the sport.
Yeah.
Tiger is Tiger, and there's nothing to even talk about right there, right? It is what it is. All those points are valid. To me, right, when Brady was playing, Brady was worth it. Brady was worth every penny. And just to be an asshole, Travis Kelce is definitely worth every penny right now because of the money he's bringing in from dating Taylor Swift.
How much is he making?
I don't know what he makes.
Sure, he's got to be making more, right?
I just want to do one podcast without hearing Taylor Swift. Just one.
I didn't do it last time. It was him. It was.
How about I got one for you.
4 years, $57 million.
Let me ask you this:
He's making about 12 and a half a year.
Yeah.
14.
He's worth that for sure.
14
He's worth
million.
that.
He's worth that. I'll give him 14. Yeah, I'm not going to give him $214 million. Screw that guy.
Hey, Jersey says he sold this year. I mean, come on, man.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Do you think a race car driver should be worth $55 million in a year?
Only Ricky Bobby.
Well, if he wins and he's the best, yes.
Well, here's your thing. The most dominant track performance we've ever seen in Formula One racing happened in 2023 with Max Verstappen. He recorded $55 million from Red Bull Racing in 2023. He was the number one driver.
I'm fine with that because you can actually die there. You're not going to die on a basketball court unless you flop around like LeBron James does. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, that's the crazy thing. I mean, he won 15 races, which was 2 more than the highest other person, which were held by both somebody, I don't remember the first person, but I know Michael Schumacher had also won 13 races. So he literally won 15 and went in the top 4 in 19 of 22 races. Like, that's insane.
And what does he make a year?
55 million.
Now, is it like golf where he makes more money when he wins the race? Because that's a totally different. You're talking about these other sports with guaranteed salaries versus
he has a guaranteed.
If you
win,
does
have a guarantee,
you
but
make
he
more
gets
money.
bonuses. I think his guarantee was 35 million, and he won an extra 20 on top of that for winning.
Well, Travis Kelce's guaranteed 23 million. Dude, LeBron James makes $37 million a year. He makes an average of $2,600 per second. making him one of the highest paid athletes in the NBA.
And he's about to flop.
Is he
at any
worth?
moment.
Is he
No.
worth 2,600? Dude, I don't see it, and I'm not trying to get into a LeBron James hate conversation here.
Tristan's over there rowing.
Oh,
in his
not
bed
only
right
not
now.
only Tristan, dude. Me and Russell have this conversation because we've got all the 20-year-olds in our Discord. All of those 20-year-olds. Russell made the best statement I've heard in a long time. He said, these kids that are 20, these freaking young little millennial vampires, there were no sports prior to 9/11. Like, the world didn't exist prior to 9/11. After 9/11, that's all they know.
Well, it's
Like
it's
Tristan said,
frustrating
Tristan goes, I've never even seen fucking half the guys y'all talk about, I've never even seen him play.
and you don't have an argument in your conversation. It's just that simple. You don't get a say so if you've never seen them all play. And
Right.
I'm not sitting here saying Jordan was better than Wilt Chamberlain because I never saw him play. But what I do know is I saw them both play, and I can tell you who was better. It passes the eyeball test. It wasn't LeBron fucking James. And the statistics say that Jordan did more with less in less time and took 2 years off in his prime. It's such a stupid argument. I get angry about it because LeBron James he might be top 5, maybe, but now they're starting this shit. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he's the GOAT. No, he's not the GOAT. You just saw the freaking GOAT. And before that, it was Joe Montana. But you're already crowning dude as the GOAT. And now we want to start a conversation about Steph Curry being the greatest
Let me
player
tell
of
you
all time.
something.
Put LeBron, put Mike. I'm sorry, Coach.
No,
Put
you're
Michael
fine.
Jordan out there and guard Steph Curry all game long. 9-time
Yeah.
defensive player of the year, and see how many fucking points that little midget
No,
scored.
now
He
you
ain't gonna
No, I
score.
mean-
now you're going to get me fired up with this Patrick Mahomes shit. All right, Patrick Mahomes, he runs around, how he throws the ball is amazing, right? Everybody's just,
Yeah,
he's
he's great.
sidearm, he doesn't look in this and that.
Better
Dude,
Aaron
you
Rodgers.
go on TikTok or Instagram and you look at all these specialty coaches, these summer league coaches that take these high school kids, and because they played college ball at Southwest Assemblies of the Deaf, Dumb, and Blind for 2 years, and they're only charging me $50 an hour, and he's taking them, and they are teaching these kids how to throw like that, John. Coach, they're teaching kids how to throw. They're putting a net in front of them, teaching them how to throw like this. Dude, you don't. And these are high school kids that aren't 6'5", and they're teaching them how to run around and do this crazy crap. Dude, if you've got that in you and you can use it, great. But you don't teach that. You're going to hurt somebody's arm, number one. Because let's go back to the baseball days, Donnie and Russell. I mean, you're not going to drop your elbow down here and throw curveballs, when you're 5 years old. These kids are teaching that. Patrick Mahomes is the worst thing that could have ever happened to these high school kids. The worst.
I'm gonna say it right now. A friend of mine that I went to high school with started this trend. His name is Chris Hughes, and he plays flag football for the Green Machine or whatever it is. And Tom Brady gave him a shout out, like 5 years ago when flag football really started becoming a thing.
I never knew it was a thing, but go ahead.
Oh yeah. And that's all he would do is he would throw these crazy passes. Like he'd be running and he'd just throw it like from the backside or whatever.
Yeah.
And now Patrick Mahomes is doing it. I mean, he's been doing it for 15 years. He was, I don't know. He's like, I say 15. I think he went to college 30 years ago and he was flag football champion then. And he stayed a flag football champion all this time. But that's what they do in these crazy 7-on-7 flag football games. It's not real football.
Right.
You're teaching bad habits and you're teaching inefficiency and hoping that athletic ability can overcome.
It has to be a natural thing. I mean, when you talk about Patrick Mahomes was a great baseball player, played shortstop. You learn to throw from those arm angles by playing baseball. You don't learn that at a camp. You learn how to do that playing baseball. And his dad was a major league pitcher. I think he played shortstop at Tech.
Yep.
I mean, you teaching him to do that, and you're right, the fundamentals of throwing that way over and over, it's not a recipe for longevity. It's a recipe for a short fucking career.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's just like you don't go
Kyler
out there.
Murray, same thing. Kyler Murray, same thing. baseball.
What was his Johnny Manziel? I mean, he did his thing on the college level because he had to, because he's running for his freaking life, and he's a freak athlete, and he could do crazy things like that. But you're not gonna say, okay, Johnny, when you snap the ball, fumble it, throw it up in the air, spin around, run to your left, plant, run to your right, and then throw it sidearm back across the field. All right, you two backups. Once he's done, y'all do the same thing. You can't fucking do that.
Yeah.
That's what they're teaching.
That's God given ability.
Fundamentally unsound.
Oh,
Fundamentally unsound. I mean, I can't believe they even teach that.
No.
I'm appalled to even hear this story. I didn't know this.
dude, I'm gonna look for it. I don't know if it was on Instagram or if it was on TikTok, but I'm gonna look for it and I'm gonna send it
And
to you,
also-
Coach.
I will say this: there is no high school coach that I know of that is worth their salt teaching high school players that shit.
Well, no, this is these private tutoring. You know, like in baseball, everybody's mom and dad thinks their kid is the greatest baseball player ever. So they go to these summer league, select ball, and all this, and you get these kids that are coaching this that played a year or two in college ball, and they walk around and they look the part, and they want them to hit home runs and they want to steal bases and throw hard, and then they tell you, hey, your kid's the greatest thing ever, and then pay me $50 an hour and I'll feed him soft toss for an hour and tell the kid how great he is. Well, they're doing that in football too. All right, bring your kid wants to be a quarterback. Hey, I played quarterback over there, for the deaf, dumb, and blind over there, Southwest Assemblies of God in Colorado, whatever. I played 2 years. I'm a quarterback. I can teach your kid, and I can teach your kid how to play like Patrick Mahomes. Watch this. Put a screen in front of him, give him the ball, say, hey, just throw sideways.
I'm in the wrong fucking business.
Hey,
Dude, I was going to tell you, John, me and you need to get out of what we're doing, and we need to be traveling and saying, hey, we coached here, we played here, and we charge $50 to $75 an hour, and we teach them how to throw like Mahomes and flop like James, baby.
Hey,
And that might be our title.
NIL.
And I'll
I'll
do
take care of your
that.
NIL. I'll be your agent.
Yeah, we'll be your
So-
agent.
So
Exactly.
we can.
We'll
we
wear
can
our
run this
rings and
back.
everything. Just fucking walk around.
If not, I know these two guys, Donnie and Russ. They can take care of that part too.
Hey, let me run this
Russell
back.
is a
minute.
finance guy. Go ahead, Donnie.
I know you guys are on my, well, I don't know, Coach Jennings is, but I know Russell and Rick are on a text thread that I'm on, that I complained about travel football coaches for nobody's business saying how to crawl through the line as a defensive lineman. You crawl through like a spider, or you turn your body and squeeze through. And this guy was supposedly a D1 player and D1 coach. So it's just like you said. I can speak from a testament from a father of twin 11-year-old boys that some of these coaches are out of their minds.
Jennings, listen to this. Johnny, how long did y'all practice, bud?
We practice 3 hours, 4 days a week. On game days, we would practice 2 hours before the game, have a 30-minute break, practice another 2 hours, and then play the game. And he wondered why he would berate the team after the second game because they weren't paying attention. Why wouldn't they? Why weren't
You
they
and I
paying
wouldn't be
attention?
paying attention at that point.
No. Was that?
You guys can barely listen to me talk for 60 seconds, much less fucking 3 hours. Come on, dude.
Very, very true.
Shut up, Russell.
And I know that Rick and Russell both saw my pictures. And I mean, there was one night where the parents had to turn their headlights on because they had no lights on the field.
That's
and you
a
couldn't
fact.
see a kid.
That's a fact. We actually did a podcast, a pick'em show one night. Donnie was at practice and he goes, check this shit out. And he turned the camera and there were like the old days when they didn't have lights, back in the 1800s. Yeah, the parents had to turn it. I said, dude, I'd have freaking grabbed my kids by their necks and just, come on, let's go. We're out of here, dude. But that's where.
Mad.
That's where, I mean, Russell gets pissed off about LeBron. Dude, when I saw that, and I'm going to send it to you, Coach, it's a real deal.
Con artist.
Con artist. That's exactly what they want. That's exactly it. Hey, guys, that's an hour, man. I don't want to keep y'all anymore. Unless y'all have something you want to get off your chest about what's going on or what you've seen. Anybody?
I'm good.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, Donnie.
I think that with these NIL deals that we're seeing now, we talked about parity and how it's going to change parity. I know when I say we, talking about regular coaches call on the NCAA picks.
Right.
I don't think it's going to change parity at all. I think it's going to make the big bigger, the strong stronger, and you're going to see team loyalty and team, you know, you see people in our age and we're like coach, you Texas A&M for life.
Yeah. Yep.
These kids ain't.
Yep. We know this.
They
It's
ain't-
sad.
They ain't Texas A&M for 15 minutes. So
Yeah.
I think when they grow up, it's going to be a whole different game. I mean, I'm curious as to when they grow up, do they have any team loyalty?
No.
Because I mean, we do.
Yeah. No.
It's going to change. It's going to change viewership is what I'm saying.
I'll tell you what it's also, and Coach Jennings, you said this a couple of weeks ago when we talked about this exact thing. Because it has a stare down effect, this NIL, because now they're taking, oh gosh, Coach, you said, I can't remember what you said. I hope you remember while I'm talking. You said your guys at UTSA, at Texas State, at these mid majors, they're going to have to start getting all these 4-star, 3-star, 4-star, some 5-star recruits, right? They're going to develop them for a couple years, and then boom, they're gone. And they're going to the D1, to the big schools. And so it has a ladder effect. So isn't that, am I on the same, Coach, is that what you said?
No, you're right.
No, it is, and a lot of those guys have accepted that. Like I know Eric Morris at North Texas. I know obviously no Trailer at UTSA.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go around the country, whatever. But my point to you is this: they understand the fact that, you know, they're not always going to have the Frank Harrises of the world that are loyal and going to stay because he's a San Antonio guy. They're more likely to get a guy that, you know, 80% of the time they're more likely to get a guy that's going to be transient. He's going to stay for a year, play.
Easy, Russell, easy.
He's a 3-star athlete, right? He's a 4-star athlete, whatever. Going to play. He's going to win. He's going to take him to a bowl game, maybe a conference championship. And he's going to get in the portal, and he's going to go to the big school that he didn't get recruited by, but has now developed himself into being the quarterback at Clemson, the quarterback at I don't know, Texas A&M, whatever.
Yeah.
So yes, the developmental part is being done by the mid majors and the FCSs of the world. Now, there's a trickle effect to that. So those mid majors are doing the same thing to the FCSs. So Dan Houston, McNeese, the James Madisons of the world, right? They're losing and developing for the mid majors, and it's just a trickle effect. They're taking it from the D2s. Yes, they're taking the D2s, right? So it's a shit show. It's a shit show. There's no like, I'm going to be here. I'm going to stay here for 2 years. I'm going to be the starter for 3, and I'm going to win a conference. And there's loyalty between me and the coach, and he developed me into the player I am, and you know, I'm going to help him.
Yeah, it's a business. Guys, thank you for being on, man. I appreciate it. I know it's Thursday. I know it's late, but thank you for being on. Coach's Call on Tap, Chalk Talk number 4. Thank you guys for listening also. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell, man. We're trying to grow this community. Help us out. Be a part of it. Leave us some comments. Tell us what you think about the NIL. Tell us what you think about these teams leaving conferences. Tell us what you think might happen, might not happen. Tell us what you think about these youth sports and what they're doing. And if you do need a coach for $50 an hour, me and Jennings are available. But anyway, until next week, guys.
75 if you get them both.
There we go. Coach Jennings, thank you. Donnie, thank you. Russell, thank you.
Yes,
until next week, this is Coach's Call on Tap. Coach's Call Chalk Talk number 4. Adios.